Playing Fallout New Vegas without taking any damage is pretty straightforward. There are many quests you can finish without fighting one shot, especially the main storyline, which you can play in an entirely pacifist way. But is it that easy if the Mojave has been completely destroyed and brought to darkness? Today we'll find out if we can complete Dust Survivor Simulator without taking any damage. For those of you who don't know what Dust is, Dust Survival Simulator is a Fallout New Vegas mod that completely changes the game and gives it an apocalyptic survival horror atmosphere. It's been 20 years since events of New Vegas, and the Mojave has decayed into a hellish, almost impossible to survive location. Lake meat has dried up, tunnelers have invaded the place, and food and water are extremely scarce, even more than before. Let's do this. As usual, I create my character. I go with the default vanilla courier, set my special skills, traits, and wake up in a shady apartment with a radio and a couple of DLC items. I ready up and take 124 points out of my HP, leaving me with 1 health point. The no damage run truly begins now. This apartment has several exits I could choose from. I end up choosing the hidden armory. This seemed like a good choice at first. Ammo and weapons would be useful, right? Oh well. I will come to regret this choice later on. I walk in, take the key out of the armory for my body, and proceed to loot everything I can carry from the shelves and ammo boxes. I find a funny looking survivor with a Tesla armor and a hat. I take the hat for myself and proceed. I'm ready to explore now. I wish I could take the armor though. I knew this run would be a demonic pain in the ass when I got combat music the second I left the armory. I immediately get attacked by a tunneler and die. I load a safe and start to climb the mountain next to the armory, so I can avoid the tunnelers. Here I could see how gritty and dusty, no pun intended, the game truly looks now. I walk around the mountain and the tunnelers continue to chase me. I could see the Lucky 38 in the distance from here. I rain artillery on the tunnelers, which scared them off and gives me a chance to run from there. They kill me a few times, but I make it out of there and into what used to be Fiend territory. I'm followed by tunnelers as I approach the Fiends, but instead of fighting them, I choose to run towards the Fiend encampment and use them as bait. This works perfectly as the tunnelers choose to attack the Fiends and their dogs instead of me. Sorry folks, good luck with that. I walk into the South Vegas ruins, which used to belong to the Fiends 20 years ago. Said Fiends, though, have now devolved into a raggedy tribal group. I'm killed here a couple of times, but I quickly end the 2 guards with my grenade rifle. I grab some of their weapons and continue towards the center of the ruins, easily killing all the tribal. I later found out that I had no need to kill them, and that they wouldn't attack me if I just kept my distance. But what can I say, I wanted some action, and killing these fellas was extremely fun, especially since I didn't do much here. They were lightly armored and had melee weapons, a walk in the park honestly. I leave South Vegas, kill a group of British robots living in a metal foundry, a group of ghouls for jaywalking, and head towards McCarran. I wanted to explore the place, maybe I'd find something useful. I find a marksman carving, which is an amazing gun, and a cool duster. But besides that, the entry to the base was barricaded, and there was nothing but ghouls around. The radiation was starting to increase too much, so I left the place. Didn't want to waste too much ammo on ghouls. Oh well. I find my first group of NCR soldiers. They were hostile, so I quickly sniped them before they can shoot back. One of them had an assault carbine. Good loot, to be honest. On the outskirts of McCarran, I find myself a new home. An abandoned warehouse filled with a couple of dead survivors, which sounds contradictory. They had a ton of good loot though, including my favorite hat, the ranger hat. I wear it, sleep for a bit, and then head outside. I heard rumors that the Ruins of Neptune had become a small town, with non-hostile survivors, traders, and doctors. So I made it my objective to cross the Mojave and head there. I leave my warehouse and head south. As I head towards the highway, I'm attacked by a group of ghouls, who I quickly dispatch. I arrive at the 1A8 trading post, and this was really difficult. The place was crawling with ghouls, and I was low on ammo. They would come from all directions, and when I went to the overpass, there was a group of them fighting off a Chat NCR heavy trooper with a super sledge. I loot everything here, mostly ammo and a few caps, and food from the bodies. A ton of alcohol, don't judge me. You gotta get shit-faced if you gotta survive the total collapse of civilization. I sleep in the overpass till the morning, and I continue. I kill a ghoul and quickly arrive at the place where the Lonesome Drifter usually sits, and 2 survivors nearby. I sadly find the body of the Drifter next to his guitar. Those 2 survivors kill him. Bastards. Sleep well, Prince. I take his guitar and continue on, killing some ants as I approach Novak. Near Helios 1, I quickly destroy a group of crazed survivors with my crossbow and my grenade launcher. I was really lucky here, and didn't die even once, but Things were about to get worse. I kill an honestly hideous looking cannibal, and I'm suddenly ambushed by his friends. This was tough. They had plasma weapons and rifles and kept killing me over and over again. I ran from there and found Novak. I was hoping there would be some friendly in town, but nope, nothing but cannibals. Oh man. I leave and head towards the NCR Ranger outpost nearby. Maybe I'd find something there. I snipe a cannibal and approach the outpost. This fight really showed the difficulty of only having 1 HP. One of the cannibals even had some sort of improvised laser repeater. This was way better than the trash Preston Garvey uses. Funny enough, the other cannibal had a crutch with a piece of sharp metal as some sort of makeshift sight. It took me a few tries to kill all of the cannibals in the complex. Some of them had grenades, and just being relatively near the explosion would kill me. But luckily most of them had melee weapons, mostly bones they would use as improvised sticks. I entered the house in the outpost and easily killed the 2 cannibals occupying the place. One of them even had a plunger as some sort of axe. Clearly this man isn't British, as he still has his dangerous weapon on him. This part was really fun, I loved it. Plus, there was some really good loot around, especially 556, which I was already running out of. I continue with my annihilation of tribals on the road to Neptune. I got some throwing spears here, which would come really handy later on. I approached the old Legion slaver camp and crushed the tribals occupying it with my throwing spears. This is so cool. I even found this weird guy who not only had boobs but also had different skin colors. Scary. I had an issue here where the game would crash when I got hit by throwing spears. This was annoying. Dying is better than relaunching the game 6 times. I ran away from mole rats and continued on. I was very close to Neptune now. I could almost savor all the loot and trading I would partake in. Before that, I visited a farm with non-hostile tribals, I loot a bit there and then leave the place. Before approaching Neptune, I take a little detour to destroy a group of scorpions. It was fun. I then head into town. I arrive there, and sadly, I'm faced with the terrible reality. It was all a lie. Neptune is still destroyed and filled with all hostile legionnaires. And unlike in vanilla New Vegas, I can't just talk to them. I'm quickly killed by them, and they are very well equipped, which stops me from being able to kill them. And I did try a few times. I decided to leave and instead explore the Mojave outpost. I had hoped that it would still have some survivors, it being close to California and all. The legionnaires were absolutely furious at me for walking into their turf though. As I left they followed me. I could barely kill a couple of them and some ghouls outside of town, but not before dying a couple of times. This was disappointing, but I still had hope for the Mojave outpost. I kill some survivors and head into the desert. After I cross it, I arrive, finally, at the Mojave outpost, the border with California. I head up the road, hoping to find some friendly faces, but, alas, I'm welcomed by gunshots. As I pick my head, I find the place is, just like Novak, crawling with cannibals. Oh man, this was really hard. There were dozens of cannibals, probably more. They killed me at least 10 times, but in the end, they could not prevail against me. I can resurrect, baby. After spending almost all of the ammo I had, I cleared the outside of the camp. Coming here was worth it though. I got a ton of loot, mostly ammo and food from all the cannibals. I walk inside and the supply building is also crawling with cannibals. These guys were better equipped though, sure, some still were armored with femurs, but one of them had a service rifle, which took me a few times to defeat. I killed them all, loot them, and head into the next building, doing the same. This was hard. One of the cannibals had a submachine gun, which kept hitting me before I could react. I managed to kill them all in the end. I also see that the cannibals got poor Cassidy here. Poor girl. What a rotten way to die. I also find a game-changing item, a big-ass backpack. This was really useful. It allowed me to get so many more guns and food. After looting the bar, I leave the place. The road to California was destroyed by a nuclear attack, so I couldn't head there directly from the Mojave outpost. My only option of escaping this hellhole was a plane. I knew there would be some in the Searchlight airport, so I started to head there. On the road there I fight off some tunnelers, survivors, and even some centaurs. I find myself this really cool cave filled with hostiles. I quickly kill them and even find a better outfit for myself. I gotta get that drip, you know it. I walk into the cage and find a heavily armed group of people. I find a cool varmint rifle with a scope here, and fight off a survivor with an anti-material rifle and her friends. They kill me a couple of times, but timing it well with bats allowed me to kill them all without them hitting me once. There was a ton of ammo here, 308, 50 cal and 556. I drink a beer before leaving, and then continue towards the airport, my final destiny. As I arrive at Searchlight, I'm surprised to find a squad of NCR soldiers, all armed with service rifles. They killed me several times, so I had to take another route into the place. This would also prove difficult, as the town was controlled by the Brotherhood of Steel. Something completely unexpected to me. I get killed several times trying to break in. Again, I couldn't really defeat them. So I walk around the town, fight off some ghouls, and then sneakily head inside the town. There was a lonely initiate inside the church who I quickly kill. I find a ton of good loot inside, especially scrap metals and electronics, which would come handy later on. I clean the basement of items and leave the location. We are really close to our destination now. I do a cool walk into the airport. It all seemed empty from the distance, but I quickly find out the place is filled with giant rat scorpions. This was a bit of a final battle. I spend most of my ammo here. I get on top of a plane and I start to snipe scorpion after scorpion. I destroy them all with some dynamite and some molotovs. They were really tough to kill though. Afterwards, I arrived at a plane with a workbench, next to a dead scribe of the Brotherhood. She had a list of items needed to repair the airplane. I had to look for those around Searchlight and other places. This was a really boring part, so I didn't record it. Thank God I already had flamer fuel and scrapped electronics from that basement I found in Searchlight. I spent around 2 hours looking for sensor modules and a conductor. Sure, maybe I should have used a guide, would have made that less boring, but after several days of gameplay, I had finally made it. With the parts ready, I walked towards the plane, being hungry, thirsty, radioactive, sleepy, and hurt, with only one bullet left, in case things went wrong, you know. I get in and take off, flying towards California. I land the plane in Camp Aditum, in NCR territory, and I finally made it. After a few hours, I complete DOS, Survivor Simulator, without taking any damage. This challenge was really good. I quite like this mod. It completely changes the way this game works. It feels like a different Fallout game. For my next video, I will be playing the Fallout 4 version of this mod, Frost. Thanks for watching till the end. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, and please like and subscribe for more. This is Pelagius B, and goodbye.